The Financial Edge is sponsored by the Hoffman Financial Group.
Over the last decade, the stock market has had its ups and downs. And if your retirement is on the radar, you're probably paying close attention to what experts are saying as we head into 2025.
Joining us now is financial expert and founder of Hoffman Financial Group, Chris Hoffman, here to tell us all of what we need to know heading into 2025. Welcome to ATL Live, Chris.
Great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
This is going to be a great conversation.
Yes,
I
it
think
will
we
be.
have to start with the basics for people, just off top, how exactly does the stock market affect your retirement?
Yeah, well, it's a very important aspect of investments, right? I mean, we invest in the stock market to grow our money in our 20s, 30s, 40s. When you get to your mid-50s, you got to start looking at the stock market and what it can do to prepare you to generate income to replace your paycheck in retirement. So you can use the stock market to grow your money, generate income, and you can choose stocks that maybe take some of the fear out of investing, so you don't have to be in extreme volatility. So there are a lot of different ways to invest in the stock market.
Yeah, well, a lot of us are very curious about how the 2024 election that we just saw is impacting retirement. Would you talk a little bit about what we can expect and how it's been affected?
Yeah, so I think Wall Street's general consensus is that the Trump administration will extend his tax cuts for individuals, and they will not be raising corporate taxes. So they've looked at it positively so far. Let's see if that continues. And he's got another 4 years to see what he can do with the economy and the stock market.
When we look into going into 2025, how can people best protect their portfolio, especially when we're kind of in a period of volatility?
Great question. So I would say diversification is the key. And I'm not just talking about stock market diversification. I'm talking about asset class diversification. So stocks, dividend stocks, bonds, structured notes, insurance products. You've got to look at the entire landscape, and that's when it becomes important to hire a fiduciary advisory team to support you and present all of those options to you.
Yeah, well, another option is Hoffman Financial Group has something called protection rotation.
We do.
Will you unpack this? What exactly is that?
Yeah, so the basics behind it are when the stock market is rising, and it's had a meteoric rise over the past 5 years plus, you want to take some of those gains and protect them. They are unrealized gains until you actually say, I'm willing to sell a portion of my portfolio. So when the stock market's going up, think about capturing those gains and moving it to less volatile, lower standard deviation, which is a measure of financial risk type of asset classes. And then when the market comes down, you can actually use those assets to buy back into the market, dollar cost averaging at lower price points. And you keep that rotation going over time, it should serve you well.
Wow.
Beautiful. Okay, as we wrap up here, Chris, any lasting notes you want to leave people with as we go into 2025? We obviously are, changing over the administrations and the White House. It's a big year.
Yeah, well, we're coming into the end of the year. So as much as everybody gets their physical, their
all those doctor's appointments at the end of the year.
Exactly. Why not get a financial physical?
That's right.
There we go.
And make sure you've got everything cleaned up and positioned well for a great 2025.
I like
Yes,
it.
and getting positioned well means seeing the experts. Thank you so much for joining us. Find out how to protect your portfolio by booking a free consultation with Hoffman Financial Group today. Call 770-749-7224. Visit unleashyourmoney.com or scan the QR code on your screen. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
This segment is sponsored by the Hoffman Financial Group.